Good evening, everyone. It's Ben Diamichis here, presenting this week's topic on marketing challenges facing new ventures. The marketing always seems to be overlooked for many startups because they seem to have a lot of confidence in their idea, their service that could bring to the market. But they need to understand that marketing has been and always will be one of the most important elements for any entrepreneurial venture, startup, product or service. Because marketing is pretty much one area which pretty much gives you the opportunity to uniquely identify your product or service to the rest of the competitors. But many startups do find this quite difficult because they may not have that skill or the background to really understand it. And they sort of don't understand whether their product or service meets the need of the current market. It may have been going back 5 or 6 years ago, but maybe this time people have moved on or progressed. And this is why that many startups tend to fail, because they're pretty much finding that they're maybe not really understanding the current market. Maybe they have missed their boat, or maybe it's something that they just thought, oh, it could have worked. But if they actually took the time and research, they may have been able to provide a really successful product. This is why it's really important now for entrepreneurs to really understand that their product's really in the hands of their consumers. Customers are now driving a success of a product. And we have seen many success stories where products have either gone one day and gone the next. And this is because we've seen that marketing has also evolved over the last 50, 60 years. Back in the 60s, it was all about the 4 Ps, and it's all about the consumer, but it's all about targeting the customer, using that whole top-down approach. Whereas we've now sort of evolved where the consumer is pretty much the driver. And it's really important now that collaboration is pretty much the key component for all products now. So that means that our marketing mix philosophy has now changed based on the evolution of technology, based on people now having more opinions in so many different social media forums than ever before. So it's really tough for startups to go, well, this is going to be a really challenge for me. And that's why it's really important now for startups to really understand that you have to research the market prior before developing your product. If you're unable to develop your product, chances are you're going to miss the boat. So market research really provides that opportunity. It is the most important step when launching a new venture, because it's pretty much defining all your requirements to support your decision on the product or service. And that's why thorough market research will then define whether the problem or solution is either clearly defined, but if you don't able to find it correctly, chances are you've wasted your investment. But there are methods in place that many startups can start to utilize. And these methods, or I could call, you've got the qualitative research method, which pretty much is the primary source of major research done, especially currently at the moment. A lot of successful startups have used this as a way to really understand, will their product or service work? And this is really using perceptions, behaviors, getting small sample groups together, even having a focus group, getting the consumers to touch, feel, provide feedback. So this might provide an opportunity to whether you need to maybe pivot your current concept that you have. But it's more about open-ended questions, because open-ended questions again provides that two-way feedback. So then the consumer feels that they're actually contributing. But then we've got the quantitative research, which has been a method that's, I believe, is secondary, but a lot of large multinational organizations use this approach as opposed to qualitative research, because they just want to see the numerical data. They just want to see category insights. They just want to know whether a category is going up or down. They're using a large sample base. They're using surveys, whether it be either online or something through the mail or even over the phone. And again, their survey techniques can be seen as closed questions. So you're not really understanding what the actual consumer wants. You're just understanding whether it's a yes or no, they don't like it, but not the reasons why they don't like it. But they sort of both can play a major part in determining the success of your product or service. But also, these products or service, for many startups with a limited budget, can be seen as quite expensive. I've come across many in my organization where we try to get Aztec data, and you would have to supply like $80,000 for a subscription for a year to get category insights. And for many startups, that is way expensive. But fear not, there are many cost-effective market research tactics which I'll take you through that a new venture or even an entrepreneur can actually start to take advantage of on a limited budget. And we have to look at the fact that how much technology has played in all this. With the whole new era of technological advancement in devices and the evolution of social media, it's really changed the way that consumers purchase. And we're not in an age where we're sort of persuaded by the whole traditional marketing techniques, but we're now really getting into the new word content marketing, which is really trying to provide as much information of your product and getting the consumer to really understand it. Now, with the advancement of technology, we've seen that over pretty much the last 4 years that there's been an increase of 157% of consumption on all devices. So that means that practically the average person is spending 11 hours and 5 minutes just engaging in online content, through each day. So that means that over 11 hours, you've got an opportunity to really sort of showcase your brand or even understand what your consumers are thinking of your brand. So I'm going to take you through a couple of research techniques that have been successful. The first one I'm going to take you through is guerrilla market research. Now, with guerrilla markets research, it's pretty much a creative and a low-cost way of connecting with the consumer, and that's pretty much hearing their opinion directly through social media forums. Now, I'm going to pretty much do, and I've seen this successfully through my organisation. So when I worked with Asahi Premium Beverages, one of the products that we had was Vodka Cruiser. Now, Vodka Cruiser at that stage was in decline as a category due to the RTD tax, and it was pretty much losing relevance to the consumer. Consumers were switching towards cider because cider was a lot cheaper. So one of the great ideas that we wanted to do was pretty much test through using social media is to create a campaign called Bring Back a Flavour. Now, Cruise has been around for pretty much over 15 years now, and it does have its nostalgic place, when we all were a little bit younger, going to clubs. And we decided to do an online campaign to see, well, what flavours are, that people do like, because again, using sort of that some data saying that the next new flavour is apple and blackcurrant or something like that, wanted to actually hear from the consumer. So they put together this a social media campaign, and out of that campaign we got many hits to the point where the majority of the nominees wanted blueberry out of all that. So there was over 104,000 interactions, 16,000 votes for the flavour of blueberry. And as the organisation made a promise, okay, well, if that's the flow, let's just produce 5,000 cases and let's just see how it goes. And they've obviously created a new label, so they built a campaign called the Originals. It was amazing through that campaign, and that was also linked through their social media through a lot of their retail customers. And that sold out within 2 weeks. Return on investment was over 600%, which is astronomical because I think at that stage, Vodka Cruiser was lucky to be selling, I think on average, 100,000 cases, which was fairly low. And to have this type of impact immediately works successfully. And now that's pretty much was one of the key ones that they're going to use moving forward. So guerrilla market research is a really good way to connect with your customers, but also build a campaign and have your consumer involved immediately. And the campaign was successful, and you can see in the social media people buying cases, drinking it, and again, a good way to connect with the consumer. The other one is customer observation, and again, it's another one that's pretty much not, it's overlooked actually quite a lot. And it's again another sort of cheap version of way of just observing situations as they occur. So being in a shopping centre and just observing consumer behaviour. And one of the case studies that I looked at was with kikki.K, which is that stationery company, and the founder was Christina Carlson. And here she was, that started off with her product. She really had a passion for stationery because she was very much an organised person, but she couldn't believe the lack of quality stationery that was actually in the marketplace. So she went to shopping centres, she went to news agents, and really understood that no one really liked. It was all very generic, and then also speaking to a lot of her friends and then also speaking to a focus group as well, she was able to identify that people do want a premium version of stationery. And through that, she was quite successful. She ended up doing a focus group of 350 friends, and within 8 years, she's got 80 stores worldwide, over 750 employees, and a revenue of 150 million. All started from having a passion of a particular product that she liked, but also observing that there was nothing out there as quite as similar. So again, another successful case study where a customer observation on a person on a limited budget can actually turn something into a positive. The third one is web-based surveys. Now, SurveyMonkey is a product that's out now, but also another product that actually is quite cheap. It's another low cost effective tool where a startup, an entrepreneur can actually create their own type of questionnaire via the SurveyMonkey website. So I've put down here, which is a case study from Modifier Watches. So this is a product that was a startup. They wanted to understand where their product will go.
My name is Aaron Schwartz, and I'm one of the co-founders of Modifier Watches. We are a 4-year-old startup based in San Francisco. We design and manufacture interchangeable custom watches.
They feature mix and match faces and straps, and essentially you build the watches that you want and you love. Our goal is to be able to create products that our customers actually love, and so we wanted to be able to work with them to actually build these products. We thought it would make sense to do some surveys and actually ended up doing a series of surveys and continue to do them through SurveyMonkey.
But we're always trying to learn more about our customers and understand really what they want. And so kind of two things. One is what colors, what designs, how can we make a better product for you? But the other is we need to figure out if we're doing well, because we have a very, very limited budget as a startup. So as much as we can ask our customers how we can do better, that's kind of something that we always ask in every survey. Would you recommend us to your friends?
Using some of the insights we received from our surveys to focus our efforts around specific groups. So we've started to develop MLB watches, so Major League Baseball, being able to create watches for all 30 teams.
One of the biggest insights we got from using SurveyMonkey is that our audience actually skews a bit older than we thought it did. So we thought it would be early 20s, maybe even some teens, but it turns out it's more late 20s and 30-year-olds who wear our product. The second is, part of the product is around this interchangeability, and we learned that customers interchange a lot more than we thought they did. we kind of assume that a customer would have one or two watches that were their go-to, but we've got a pretty strong amount of people who will change 3 or 4 times a week to kind of show a different color. SurveyMonkey has helped us understand our customers much better.
And there's another great testimonial of a company that really leveraged the power of a web-based survey, trying to connect with their consumers and really understand where their market's going. So, in summary, marketing has evolved. We've moved away from the 4 Ps, and then we've gone to the 4 Cs, which is all about collaboration, connecting with our consumer. Consumers are in control now. We've seen technology advance and social media platform. They've got a voice. The voice is heard amongst the community, and the community is a lot more powerful. And market research is really important for any business or startup. They need to really understand the customer's needs and wants before putting together their product. And more importantly, there are inexpensive tools for startups, and we've seen it. There's guerrilla marketing. It can be done through social media. There's customer observations, and there's web-based surveys that for any startup with a limited budget, they actually can utilize and get really good data that it can be quite successful. And the time is right to begin a new startup. Information is pretty much at everyone's fingertips now, and everyone should be able to feel confident that by able to doing the right amount of research, using the right amount of data, they can put together a really strong marketing and social media plan that will be effective and successful. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Any questions, I'd love to get your feedback from via the Blackboard, and it's goodbye from very cold Dublin.